The garden party was in full swing when I arrived. White tents on the lawn, catering staff circulating with champagne, my mother holding court near the rose bushes. The house looked beautiful, the property meticulously maintained. My property, though my mother seemed to have forgotten that detail. There she is. Mom called out, waving me over to a cluster of neighbors. Everyone, this is my daughter Nina. She's in town visiting. Visiting. I lived 40 minutes away and owned the house they were standing in front of, but sure, visiting. Your mother was just telling us the exciting news, Mrs. Patterson from next door gushed. Finally selling this beautiful estate. It's been in the family so long. I took a sip of champagne to hide my expression. Selling. Don't look so surprised, dear, Mom said, laughing. We discussed this. The house is too much for me to maintain. Better to sell now while the market's strong. We absolutely had not discussed this. The realtor is coming Thursday to take photos, Mom continued to the gathered neighbors. We're listing by next week. I'm thinking of asking $1.8 million. The location alone is worth it. That's a fair price, Mr. Chin agreed. Properties on this street don't come available often. You'll have buyers competing. I pulled out my phone and opened my property management app, pulling up the deed registry. There it was, 1247 Riverside Drive, owner, Nina Catherine Brennan. Purchase date, April 2019. 4.5 years ago. Mom, I said carefully, can we talk inside for a moment? Nina, I'm entertaining. Now please. Something in my tone made her excuse herself. We walked through the French doors into the kitchen away from the party guests. What's this about selling the house? I asked quietly. Exactly what I said. I'm getting older, the maintenance is overwhelming, and your brother suggested it's time. Gregory found a wonderful condo downtown, much more manageable. Gregory suggested you sell my house? Mom blinked. Your house. Darling, I know you help with expenses sometimes, but this is still the family home. No, Mom. This is my house. I own it. I've owned it for over 4 years. Her face went blank with confusion. That's not possible. This house has been mine since your father died 7 years ago. It was yours. Until you called me in tears because you couldn't afford the property taxes and the roof needed $40,000 in repairs. Remember that conversation? Mom's face paled slightly. That was, you said you'd help with the repairs. I did help. By purchasing the house from you. You signed the deed transfer, Mom. We went to the title company together. You walked away with enough money to pay off your credit cards and medical bills, and I took over all the expenses. I thought that was a loan, Mom whispered. It was a purchase. The title company explained everything. You signed multiple documents acknowledging the transfer of ownership. You've been living here rent-free for 4 years as my gift to you. Rent-free. She said it like the concept was foreign. Yes. I haven't charged you anything. I've covered the property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs. Everything. Because you're my mother and I wanted you to stay in the house you loved. Mom sank into a kitchen chair. I don't remember it that way. Check your files. You have copies of all the paperwork. The deed is public record. You can look it up right now. I handed her my phone with the property registry displayed. See? Nina Catherine Brennan, sole owner. She stared at the screen, her hand shaking slightly. But Gregory said. What exactly did Gregory say? That the house was wasted on just me. That I should sell it and split the proceeds with you kids. That it was only fair since it's the family estate. The family estate that I own, I said. Did Gregory mention that part? He said the house came to me when Dad died, so it was mine to distribute. He said you'd understand that you're always so practical about money. I took a slow breath, controlling my anger. My younger brother Gregory, who'd never contributed a dollar to the household, who'd borrowed money from Mom for years and never paid it back, was now suggesting she sell my property and give him a cut. Mom, you can't sell this house. It's not legally yours to sell. But I live here. As my guest. Which I've been happy to provide. But I own the property, I pay all the expenses, and any decision about selling would be mine alone. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I've been telling everyone we're selling. The realtor is coming Thursday. I've already started looking at condos with Gregory. What am I supposed to do now? You're supposed to tell the truth, I said firmly. That you made a mistake, that the house isn't actually yours, and that there won't be a sale. Everyone will think I'm senile, Mom said. Or a liar. Nina, please, can't we just what? Pretend you own my house so you're not embarrassed? Sell my property and split my equity with Gregory? It was the family home, Mom said desperately. Doesn't that mean something? It does. That's why I bought it, to keep it in the family, to let you stay here. But that doesn't mean it stops being my property, or that I have to sell it because Gregory wants money. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother. Mom says you're being difficult about the house sale. Don't be selfish. Family shares. I showed Mom the text. Did you tell Gregory the first was being difficult? I may have mentioned you seemed surprised about the sale. Because I own the house and this is the first I'm hearing about any of this. Outside, the party continued. Through the window, I could see Mrs. Patterson talking animatedly with other neighbors, probably discussing the upcoming sale that wasn't going to happen. What do I tell them? Mom asked. Everyone out there thinks. Tell them the truth. You made an error. The house belongs to your daughter and it's not for sale. They'll ask questions. Then answer them. Tell them I bought the house 4 years ago. Tell them I've been letting you live here. Tell them whatever you want, but tell them the truth. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a napkin. Gregory is going to be very upset. He was counting on his share. His share of my property. Mom, do you hear yourself? She looked up at me, something shifting in her expression. You really have owned this house for 4 years? Yes. And you never charged me rent? Never asked me to leave? Never. I wanted you to stay. I wanted you to be comfortable and secure. I just didn't expect you to forget who actually owns it. I didn't forget, Mom said quietly. I think I didn't want to remember. It was easier to pretend things were still how they used to be. That I was still the homeowner, still independent, still in control. You are independent. You live in a beautiful house without the financial burden. That's not dependence, that's family support. But it's your house, Mom said. Your investment. And I was going to sell it out from under you because Gregory convinced me it was mine to give away. Yes, I said simply. You were. She was silent for a long moment. Outside, laughter drifted in from the party. Finally, Mom stood up. I need to make this right. What are you going to do? Tell everyone the truth. Fix this mess. She straightened her shoulders. And call Gregory to tell him there won't be any money from a house sale that isn't happening. I followed her back outside. Mom walked directly to the center of the largest group of guests and cleared her throat. Everyone, I need to make a correction. I made an error earlier about the house. The conversations died down. Everyone turned to listen. This property actually belongs to my daughter Nina. She purchased it from me several years ago and I've been living here as her guest. There won't be a sale. I apologize for any confusion. Mrs. Patterson looked between Mom and me. Your daughter owns this house? She does. Has for over 4 years. I should have been clearer about that from the start. So there's no sale? Mr. Chen asked. No sale, I confirmed. The property isn't on the market. There was a moment of awkward silence, then Mrs. Patterson smiled. Well, that's good news for the neighborhood. We'd hate to lose you both as neighbors. Your daughter has kept the property beautifully. She has, Mom agreed, and I heard something new in her voice, actual acknowledgement. Nina's been very generous letting me stay here. I'm very fortunate. The party gradually resumed its normal rhythm. People asked me polite questions about property management and real estate investment. Mom stayed close, occasionally adding details about repairs I'd handled or improvements I'd made. When the guests finally left, Mom and I sat on the back patio as the catering staff cleaned up. Gregory called, Mom said, looking at her phone. 3 times. He's not happy. I imagine not. He said I should fight you on the ownership. That we should check the documents, find a lawyer, prove the sale wasn't valid. And what did you tell him? That the sale was completely valid, that I signed everything willingly, and that he needs to stop assuming other people's assets are available for him to spend. Mom looked at me. He hung up on me. I'm sorry. Don't be. Needed to be said. He's been living in a fantasy where my comfort and security were resources he could cash in on. That ends now. We sat in silence, watching the sun set behind the oak trees at the property line. Can I stay? Mom asked quietly. Here, I mean. I know I don't have any right to ask after what I almost did. Of course you can stay, I said. Nothing's changed about that. This is still your home, Mom. It's just important that we both remember whose name is on the deed. I won't forget again, she promised. And Nina, thank you. For buying the house when I needed help. For letting me stay all these years. For not throwing this back in my face today when you had every right to. You're my mother. I wasn't going to let you lose your home. But I almost sold your investment out from under you. Almost. But you didn't. And now you know the truth and we can move forward clearly. Mom nodded. I'll call the realtor tomorrow and cancel the appointment. And I'll send an email to the family explaining the situation properly. Gregory won't be happy. Gregory hasn't been happy since he realized the world doesn't owe him a living. He'll survive. Mom squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you, you know. I should say that more. You built something real, bought this house, took care of your mother. That's not nothing. Thank you, I said and meant it. The title company called 2 days later, just as my property manager had alerted them about potential fraudulent sale attempts. Miss Brennan? We received an inquiry from a Gregory Brennan about the property at 1247 Riverside Drive. He was asking about deed transfers and claiming to be the executor of the estate. There is no estate, I said. I'm the sole owner and I'm very much alive. That's what we told him. We also informed him that attempting to fraudulently transfer property is a serious crime. He hung up rather quickly after that. I wasn't surprised. Gregory had always been bold when he thought he could get away with something, but folded immediately when confronted with actual consequences. Mom handled it better than I expected. She sent a clear, firm email to the entire family explaining that the house was mine, that any discussions about selling or distributing it were over, and that she expected everyone to respect both my ownership and her right to live there without interference. Gregory didn't respond. My aunt called Mom to complain about family secrets and not being transparent, but Mom held firm. The house was mine, that was public record, and there was nothing else to discuss. Sunday dinners continued at the house. My house, though it still felt strange to think of it that way. Mom invited me regularly, and now when relatives visited, she introduced the property correctly. Nina owns this beautiful home and lets me live here. Isn't she wonderful? It was better. Clear. Honest. Gregory showed up once 3 months later, trying to apologize and ask if I'd consider a family loan secured against the property's value. I told him no. Firmly, finally, and with Mom standing right there supporting my decision. Some families share everything equally. Others learn that equality isn't always the same as fairness, and fairness means acknowledging who actually contributed what. I'd contributed the money that saved the family home. I'd contributed years of maintenance and expenses. I'd contributed the generosity of letting Mom stay without rent. Gregory had contributed suggestions about how to spend my equity. Those weren't equal contributions. They didn't deserve equal benefits. And finally, everyone understood that. The garden parties continued. But now when Mom talked about the house, she got the ownership right. That was all I'd ever wanted. Not gratitude, not recognition, just accuracy. The house was mine. The deed said so. And finally, so did my family.